This is the Daily Dirty.
The Daily Dirty. Breaking pop culture news, influencer drama, and everything in between.
Daily Dirty.
On Unwell On Air.
Welcome to the Daily Dirty. I'm Sequoia Holmes.
I'm Fiona Shea.
And I'm Chloe Veitch.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, girlies.
So excited to have you on.
We're excited to be here.
It's going to be very fun.
We've got our cheeky little British girl joining us today. You might know Chloe from Too Hot to Handle, The Circle, Perfect Match. She has an upcoming Unwell show coming later this year. And Chloe's one of our good friends. We're so happy to have you.
So happy to have you. Chloe, I've never told you, but me and my fiance constantly, when we were watching your season of The Circle, we would just run around the house being like, Circle?
You're joking.
Circle? That's like,
send message.
that's all we would do was just like say Circle like you said Circle.
I
It's
literally
iconic.
just went in the kitchen a minute ago and they have the cups that we had on Perfect Match in the cupboard. Straight up PTSD. I'm like, oh no.
Immediate PTSD.
Shatter the glass. Whenever I am with you, Chloe, I start trying to speak with a British accent. The way you speak is just like, it melts my heart.
I love you. I'll teach you if you want.
Thank
Please.
you.
Yeah.
I need to learn.
Do Americans always do that? Like, do they
Always,
start
but do you
speaking?
know what's funny? They always say to me, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to like
Offend
Yeah.
you.
offend you." And I'm like, "No, you're not offending me. I love it."
Yeah. Okay, great.
All you've got to say is "babe" after every word.
Babe.
Babe.
Hello,
Yeah,
babe.
you do that.
You're right, babe.
Babe. Yeah.
All
I
right,
did.
babe.
Yeah.
How was Coachella, babe?
Yes.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
was
Coachella.
Yes.
Oh wow, Coachella was incredible.
I mean,
Uh-oh.
you were wearing your natural curls. You were all fitted out. You went
Yeah.
with a brand. You were with your friends. It seemed like you just were living your best life.
It was my first Coachella,
Nice.
and I feel like I've accidentally set the expectation bar high.
really.
And I am gutted because I know that my second Coachella isn't going to be as good as my first.
Why do you think that?
Because everyone I was with has had like 10 Coachellas.
Okay.
And they're like, this was the best Coachella ever.
Really?
Oh.
Why do you think that was? Why was this year kind of had that
I
extra
think
magic?
it was just the people that I was with, you know, the
Nice.
group, the atmosphere. There was something in the air at Coachella.
nice.
Dust.
Dust.
Lots of dust.
Lots
Yeah.
of dust
We'll be
and
inhaling
sweat.
that.
Yeah, we will. My roommates went to weekend one and came back this week and said the same thing of just like, oh my gosh, it was so magical. Which like the desert in California, I feel like does kind of have that just like, you know, ethereal feeling to it.
Especially if you do a drug while you're in the
Yeah.
desert.
Yeah.
Which a lot of
Which a lot of Coachella folks do. A lot of people who go to the desert in general do. Yeah.
To find themselves
Yes.
in Joshua Tree.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Hire a
And Joshua Tree.
villa.
Yes.
It seems like you really understand LA culture quite well, although you haven't lived here that long.
Babe, I've been chucked in the deep end. I honestly had no idea. I came here from a small town in Essex.
Okay.
I got here, moved in, and I feel like I've been eaten alive every week.
So were you living in Essex before your first reality show?
I was living with my parents.
You were.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
And then you got into the Netflix reality show universe.
Yeah.
And then only moved to LA
Last year.
last year.
Yeah.
The end of 2024.
Yeah, so I've had a couple apartments in between back in London, the UK, but because of COVID, it was like unrealistic. I can't just fly to LA.
Right.
And I needed a visa. The visa
Right.
cost money, and then the immigration laws and stuff. So yeah, I was just flying in and out.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
How
what
do you like LA? How's your time been? How's your experience?
It's just a different world.
Yeah.
It's a different world. I think the culture here is crazy.
Okay.
Like influencers in the wild. Everyone's got a camera out. There's bloody tripods everywhere. We've even got these, what are they called?
Octobuddies?
Octobuddy. You stick it on your phone, stick it on a window, stick it in the shower.
Yeah.
You're just filming constantly. TikTok sounds flying from inside of cars. It's just
these bloody tripods.
bloody
Right.
tripods.
I do stick mine in the shower. I am guilty.
Same.
And you do have that just kind of like down to earth vibe about you. While yes, you've been on these really successful shows and you have a ton of followers, like I feel like we really connect with you because you're just cool and down to earth and funny. Do you find that you fit in with other people that you meet in LA, or do you feel like, I'm just a girl from Essex and like I'm not really like you people?
I think a bit of both. I think I definitely suffer with like imposter syndrome. I've come from a small town, grew up with nothing. I was 19 years old when I went on Too Hot to Handle, and I've kind of been skyrocketed into I wouldn't even say fame, just being known in the Netflix world, you know? And I think because I lived in my hometown up until last year, I haven't adapted the LA mindset. Where it's like, the world is my oyster. If I want it, I can have it. Like, that's the mindset that I didn't grow up with. It was just, I'm very lucky, I'm very grateful. And then being pushed into LA and living here, majority of my friends are like, Chloe, you could do anything you want to do, babe. You're in LA. This is it. This is where stars become stars. So I don't know, I'm adjusting to it.
Yeah, for sure. It just kind of like rubs off on you probably a little bit being here.
But it's great. Less ego, more confidence. Everyone needs to be a little bit more confident and to know their worth a little bit, and LA has instilled it in me.
Less ego is great.
Yeah,
like a lot of us could use a little bit less of that.
Less ego, more confidence. I love that. Right, because it's very confusing between the two.
It is. People conflate them all the time.
Yes,
people conflate that ego with confidence all the time.
Like with yourself, it's kind of hard to discern, but then on another person, you can always tell, like, this is either coming from your ego or this is genuine, authentic confidence, right? Like, you can almost like smell it on other people.
I feel like people misjudge me when they first meet me because I'm so like, oh, hi, how are you? What can I do for you? And it's almost like my kindness is taken for a weakness, or it's taken as, oh, she's that available that she's probably not as what's the word, like relevant to me, or she's not as of much value because she's so readily available.
And I don't like that, because I'm the same way, where I'm like, I want to be extra nice and friendly and real, and I'm not going to be stuck up and like not give you the time or space. But in LA, I do think, when you act like I'm exclusive,
people gravitate towards you more. You get bigger deals, you get paid more. It's almost like you're more relevant because
not everyone can touch you.
Yeah.
People feign busyness all the time in LA as well in order to seem, important, They're like, oh, I can't, I'm not available for this, even though you are, you're very much not doing anything, but you will pretend to be busy in order to seem more important than,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very good.
No, I don't know if I'm ever going to be that girl. It might take me a little bit longer to get where I want to go, but like,
I think you're right. You have it or you don't. You're born with it or you're not. I think people that lean into the ego side of things, I think it's just in them. Because I know loads of people that have got followers and been on multiple TV shows and are millionaires, and they're just so humble and nice.
Oh, we're going to talk more about this later because I think it's going to come up in our show. But like navigating that is hard, and I feel like you do a really good job.
Try to.
You do.
Thank you.
No, you do a very good job.
And that's why we're going to learn so much from you today, tomorrow, your show, and so happy to have you.
I know. Thank you, girls.
We have a lot to cover today in today's show. From new cosmetic surgery to a new app that lets you borrow strangers' clothes, plus one of our favorite segments, Soapbox. But first, Lil Nas X has been hospitalized.
I know, I'm so bummed. Lil Nas X posted that he's suffering from partial facial paralysis. He posted to his Instagram he lost control of the right side of his face. And in a follow-up post, he shared that he's doing okay, luckily, and asked his fans to, quote, stop being sad and to, quote, shake your ass for me instead, which is very much Lil Nas X fashion.
Lil Nas X. And I'm happy that he's still able to keep his sense of humor. And I feel bad that when I initially saw this, I was not positive if it was a joke or if he was serious, because he is such an online troll. You know, he makes jokes on the internet all of the time. And so I'm looking at this like, he's joking. He's not joking.
He's so me though. I'm sorry. Like if I'm in hospital and something's going on, I'm filming it and I'm whacking it straight on the internet. I'm like, how many likes can I get on this?
Even if your face was half paralyzed, do you think you would, or do you think you'd be scared? Because this would really frighten me. It could be Bell's palsy, which is temporary for the most part and caused by stress. It could also potentially be Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which you guys might remember Justin Bieber suffered from, and he did eventually recover. But if half of my face was like frozen, I would start kind of bugging.
I would too. I'd be terrified.
I'd be terrified because what if it
never
goes come back?
Yeah.
It's like getting a bad batch of Botox.
Oh my God. Yes. And you have like the ptosis on your eyelid and one of your eyes won't open all the way. Yes.
Okay. So
I've seen that.
Hopefully, I mean, I do love that Lil Nas X is the type to just like do things kind of lighthearted, and that's probably how he's gets through tough times is with humor. He did get some support from a couple of celebrities, Taraji P. Henson, I believe I said her name right.
That's it.
And Wanda Sykes, who I guess told him that it's his body wanting him or telling him to rest.
Yeah.
So sometimes this happens from extreme stress.
Right.
Do you guys have any like experiences with that?
I do have experiences with that. And I also remember Lil Nas X mentioning that he's been feeling stressed about his relevance level.
Oh, really?
Lately. He was on TikTok saying, you know, he was used to getting a certain amount of attention, a certain amount of likes on his videos and on his music. And then that number was steadily declining, and it was bringing him stress and anxiety. So I'm wondering if that has something to do with this. And also personally, my job before this job was sending me to urgent care all the time. And I knew that I was stressed and I need to go to urgent care because my fucking Oura Ring stats were crazy.
Not the Oura Ring.
My heart rate was astronomical constantly. My readiness score was just always in hell. It didn't matter how much sleep I got. My heart rate was crazy. I was having heart palpitations. I could not breathe correctly. It was a lot. So yeah, stress will really fuck you up.
I mean, and you feel it physically. Like, it's not just mentally. I remember listening to this doctor on a podcast the other week, and it was a doctor saying that certain levels of stress are really healthy. You know, it kicks in that fight or flight or freeze. Yeah. It kind of wakes up your vagus nerve and your nervous system, and it kind of keeps you alert all the time. You need a certain level of stress to survive, really, to push you like financially, motivationally, whatever. But when it comes to Lil Nas X and the stress of his career, it's like he's probably got like houses and loans and cars, and he's got the lavish lifestyle now
because he hit it so big when he entered the scene. Remember with Old Town Road, like huge superstar. And I was just looking, that's why I was on my computer. He came out with an album in this year, at the beginning of 2025. And I'm skimming through the songs and I'm like, I don't recognize any of these. Yeah. And, you know, he's had some popular features, some viral TikTok songs in the past couple years since his first break. But it does seem like he's probably playing this race that a lot of actors, singers, entertainers, creatives do. Yeah. Once you enter the scene, you find success, and then it's like, how do I maintain that? Especially if you peak really early. Right. How do you stay on top of the mountain when your first song one of your first songs is like song of the year?
Because then there's like lack of experience, and if it's your first song, then there's no like wisdom behind it and method and strategy. It's almost like a fluke of a really good song.
Right. I can only imagine the stress to perpetuate that type of success constantly. And for the rest of us who are not famous and successful in that capacity, we're not supposed to be under chronic stress. We're supposed to experience acute stress is the type of stress that's good for us, that will make us run. That's what we've evolved to be okay with. So, you know, if there was an animal chasing you back when that was the thing. I don't know.
Caveman days.
Right, in the caveman days. If there was an animal chasing you, the animal is chasing you for a short time, and you either live or you die, and then you're not stressed, you know, after the animal's finished chasing you. But now it's like we're stressed every single time we open our phones, which is constantly. Yeah. It's just a chronic, constant, low-grade stress that's lending to this type of stuff happening to us that wasn't necessarily happening in the caveman days or whatever.
It should have been like, okay, an animal's chasing you, you get away, you crack open a mango under the tree,
and now you're chilling. You're eating your mango,
crack a coconut.
You're like, woo,
staying hydrated with electrolytes all the time.
Much. You got your Unwell hydration under the tree, and you're chilling. But no, that's not what we have now.
This does remind me of when our editor Will told us that technically humans are supposed to reach their max capacity of speed, their max speed at least once daily, which I think has roots in like evolution from when we used to be running at a full sprint at least once a day. Right. And that, since Will told us that, I think about it every day. Yep. And I'm like, another day where I didn't reach max speed. Like, and when I'm on a walk, I'm like, should I just reach max speed real quick? Right.
I've been sprinting since then. I'm like, no, I will not sprint.
I mean, so we're dealing with our stress, okay?
That caused me chronic stress. Knowing that I'm supposed to sprint is causing me chronic stress.
Another person who is going through a stressful situation. Hopefully Lil Nas X makes a full recovery. We're praying for him. Savannah Chrisley.
Yeah.
The daughter of Todd Chrisley. Okay, do you guys remember the show Chrisley Knows Best?
Sure do.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Chloe.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay, but what
I know who they are.
What was Todd doing on Chrisley Knows Best? Didn't he make a ton of money? Like, what was the whole plot of that show?
It was just like a reality show of the family.
Yes.
And
Okay.
their life.
Exactly. It was like Kardashian-esque.
Yeah.
Okay, and but what was Todd known for? Didn't he have a lot of money?
I really don't know what the hell Todd was known for. I had no idea.
A real estate entrepreneur.
That's what I thought. Okay.
They probably want to keep that under wraps because they were being sketchy with their money. They probably didn't want to make that a forefront of the show.
Okay, yeah, because now Todd, I believe, is in prison with the wife for tax evasion.
Todd and
Yeah.
Julia
So-
locked up.
Savannah went on she was on a couple other reality TV shows. She's raising her brother, I believe, because both her parents are in prison. She was dating this guy, Robert Shriver, since 2023. It seemed like he had a previous tumultuous relationship, his ex-wife. And it just came out that Savannah and Robert broke up because one of the major issues was his ex-wife, I guess, had tried to kill him or suggested that she was plotting a murder.
I mean, it went to court.
It's going to court. Okay.
Yeah.
So the ex-wife, Lindsay, is out on bail, but she's going to court. So there's at least enough evidence that she was plotting Robert's demise.
For them to feel like they needed to put her in
Which
jail.
makes me think, well, was it just a couple of messages?
Right. Or were you
Meh.
were you paying somebody?
There
Were
was
you
a
hiring
hitman.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, she was arrested in 2023 after law enforcement discovered WhatsApp messages detailing Lindsay, the ex-wife, her alleged plot to kill Robert. She was released from prison and her trial is set for August.
WhatsApp definitely corroborates our thought that there was a hitman, because if you're in the States talking to somebody else in the States, you're not using WhatsApp.
You're so
If you're
funny.
using WhatsApp to talk to somebody who is not in the same country as
Oh,
you.
interesting.
So you've definitely hired a hitman from somewhere else.
See,
and
for
you're
me,
chatting
that's
on WhatsApp.
alien because I use WhatsApp all the time.
Yeah.
Because
You're a
I'm
cheeky
British.
little
You're
Brit.
British.
Because I'm a Brit.
Right.
What about Signal? Would that be the place to appropriately
would-
take the hitman?
That's where you get a
That's
hitman.
where you-
Yeah.
That's where you get a hitman.
or some dark web shit.
Right.
I don't understand how the dark web works.
How do
but-
you reach it? How would one reach the dark web?
It's like a Raya. It's like a Raya recommendation. You have to know someone that knows someone that knows someone to
Right.
put you on it.
to put you on?
Naturally.
So Savannah and Robert just broke up. That's what the story kind of is. She came out and said, it's been about a month and a half since Robert and I broke up. So there it is. Robert and I broke up on March 6th. Now that I'm keeping track of dates or anything, but I have taken a lot of time to process things, grieve the loss of the relationship, and that I thought it was going to be where I was for the rest of my life. Okay, so she's saying I was really into this relationship. We've been dating for a couple of years and it's not going the way that I thought. I'm curious, have you guys ever dated someone or been in a relationship where a previous situation with an ex has then kind of affected your relationship with the person?
Yeah, I mean, one of my exes, he was with his ex for 10 years.
Oh.
He was in his early 30s. I was in my early 20s. We met, and he was the one pursuing me.
Okay.
And then I found out that his ex had a child who was 10 years old.
Okay.
So he had literally brought up the child as his own.
Okay.
And then once he left the relationship and we got together, it was he wanted to see, obviously, his son, the son that he brought up as his own.
Right.
And it was just okay, that's fine. I love that. I love seeing you in this element and you fostering the daddy in you, it's quite attractive. But then because they were together for so long, 10 years, it was very much oh, okay, this is an issue in itself. Because she then felt like she had control over him and everything that he'd done in his life, and if he was with me, she wanted to meet me, even though I didn't really want to meet the sun just yet. I'm like, I've only known him for a couple months, you know, like there's no need to kind of get that deep so quickly. But she had a massive influence in the relationship.
Interesting. That does make sense because if her son was spending time with your partner at the time, your boyfriend, as a mother, she would be like, well, I want to meet this girl who's there too, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that does get complicated.
After a few months, definitely.
Right.
But like we only knew each other for a couple of weeks at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to get involved in drama.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So yeah, she had, and I feel like their cat died or something. And she rang him like at 1 o'clock in the morning and was like, you need to come to the garden and bury the cat and da 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 da. And I'm like, you're not even together. Leave us alone, please.
You need to come to the garden.
That's crazy. Didn't we just have a similar story about like taking care of a mutual dog, like who gets custody of a mutual dog?
Was Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah.
And her ex-fiance. They still share a dog.
Yeah. Wow. Pet stuff gets hard too.
Yeah.
Seems like.
I just won't involve myself in it anymore.
That's fair. I wouldn't involve myself in it either. Stay with us. We're taking a quick break, but we'll be right back to talk all about the TikTok conversation surrounding Brooke Schofield's upper bleph procedure. TikTok cannot stop talking about upper bleph surgery after Brooke Schofield admitted to getting the procedure.
Yeah, so Brooke Schofield co-hosts the canceled podcast with Tana Mojo. Tana was a big YouTuber, now podcaster, influencer, and they both have pretty big followings online. Brooke came up on my For You page on TikTok with her original video kind of debuting her recovery from the upper bleph surgery. It seems like she's kind of vlogging her experience as she did with a previous breast implant surgery she got a couple months ago. She's been pretty candid about work that she's gotten done.
Good for her.
Yeah, and has been, well known for talking about it on TikTok. Anyways, the video pops up on my For You page, and right on her eyelids, she has like black stitches, basically. So it looks pretty fresh. And, you know, your eyes are a quite sensitive part of your body. It looked a little, whoa, oh my gosh, what happened here? You got like sliced in the eye. She goes on to talk, okay, I got this upper bleph surgery because I have hooded eyes. And basically what it is removing some of the skin on the eyelid, correct?
Yeah.
And I guess it's pretty popular. Brooke went on to say, you know, many people in LA get this surgery done. You recover in about a week. It's not that big of a deal. I just wanted to be honest with you guys, and, you know, which is what people kind of ask me to do. Mm-hmm. People ask me to be honest about the work that I got done. Yep. And now people are, you know, kind of trolling her because of it and giving her a lot of hate and saying, you get so much work done, you're like a classic LA influencer, this is getting out of hand, like having a little bit of extra skin on your eyelids isn't a valid insecurity. You know, people are coming at her from all different angles because of her openness about the surgery.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like a double-edged sword though, because being open about your surgery is one thing, but then also showcasing it all the time. And then I feel like when it comes to like other influencers that I've seen showcase their surgeries, if they're aiming the content towards the viewers that are like young women, kind of like in high school, saying that this is the only way to be, my body is now perfect, this is society's standard of like beauty. I think it's the way that you kind of market it and show it off. And I think, to be honest with you, with Brooke, she's just talking about what she had done and her own personal views and opinion, which is fine. I just think sometimes people need to be careful about how they talk about it, because otherwise the perception of beauty could be completely misled.
For sure. Brooke, I feel like, you know, I used to listen to canceled podcasts pretty regularly, is someone who's very open about like feeling insecure, feeling anxious, losing herself in relationships. You know, she's very like relatable in that way. But also, to your point, seeing her do the upper bleph surgery and talking about having hooded eyes and extra skin on the eyelids, that was not something that I was even aware of. And then I'm looking in the mirror like, do I have hooded eyes?
I don't want hooded eyes.
You know, so it's like, now with the internet and with TikTok, almost when we're pointing out insecurities that we have with ourselves or changes that we are making, it then might project onto other women being like, wait, should I do that too?
Yeah.
Do I have to keep up because you're getting that done? So then does that mean that I have to?
Mm-hmm. And then it begs the question, like, should Brooke not be allowed to talk about her own insecurities for fear that it might stoke insecurities in somebody else, another adult woman?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, ...
Adult woman.
You know, like there's been a lot of adults in her comments being like, that's not real, like
it's
your
not a valid reason
eyelids
to be
or whatever,
insecure.
or like, oh, a new insecurity unlocked. And it's like, is that on Brooke to hold?
No.
Do you think that a lot of people in Los Angeles are honest about the work that they get done?
Fuck
No. No.
Oh.
So Brooke is kind of standing out in that way
Right.
and taking a new approach.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's because, you know, that's kind of who she is, and she has been very honest with her followers and fans about not only her insecurities, but things she's done to combat them or procedures she's had. It does seem like Brooke, for context, she was in a bit of hot water for old tweets that resurfaced a few months back. And so I'm curious if she is getting maybe extra hate right now because she's not, you know, being well received in the public eye anyways. So then coming out and being like, and I'm getting more plastic surgery is, you know, people are just like using both things against her.
I mean, I think what I normally do is if I start to feel a type of way about a certain celebrity being open and honest about their surgery, and I start to feel like, oh, why are they doing that? Why are they talking about that? I just think, well, how would I feel if it was Beyonce? How would I feel if it was Taylor Swift? Would I care as much? Would I judge as much? And I think as a woman, like, why am I even caring anyway? You know, like, just let her get on with her life.
Yeah, because it feels like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you have an insecurity about your upper eyelids and you have the means to do something about that insecurity,
Do it.
Your two options are do it and say something that you did it, or do it and not say something that you did it. And if you don't say something, people accuse you of setting an unrealistic beauty standard because then you're not being honest about the work that you had done. While looking very beautiful, and girls are striving for that level of beauty, not understanding that you've gone under the knife to achieve it. Or you say it and now you're not actually pretty, you're plastic and you're fake, and all this stuff. So what do you want? Like, what do you want at the end of the day? What is that Nike slogan? You can't win, so win.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody, so at the end of the day, you have to please yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I got a boob job when I was 18 years old because I got bullied. I looked like a guy. I was completely flat-chested and I got my boobs done, paid for it, whatever. No one really knew. I was so young, didn't really go on social media. When I was on Too Hot to Handle, my boobs were already fake, but I got them so small that no one would ever notice. And then it got to a point now where I'm more of a mature woman. I'm gaining more weight. I'm wearing like more tight tops. I'm going to festivals, wearing less clothing in certain settings, and people are saying to me, Chloe, have you had your boobs done again? And they're coming at me, and I'm like, no, I've had my boobs done for years.
Interesting.
I just haven't ever spoke about it because I got them done before I entered social media.
Right.
So I'm now getting attacked
Yeah.
for people saying that I've had my boobs done a second time and not spoke about it when I actually haven't. I've just gained weight. Let a girl live.
Right. And do you owe it to them to speak about it, even if you had it done a second time? I feel like unless you're being asked directly and you're lying, if someone says, did you get your boobs done, Chloe? And you say, no, then that's a little weird to me.
Yeah.
But if nobody's ever explicitly asked, have you gotten your boobs done? And you also haven't explicitly said, I've gotten my boobs done, that's fine to me.
Yeah. You know what? I've been seeing this trend too in music amongst three of, you know, some of our favorite artists. SZA, Doja Cat, and Doechii have all openly talked about getting some sort of BBL procedure done.
Yep.
And they've revealed it a lot of times through their music, in their raps or in their songs without being asked. You know what I mean?
I got that BBL. I got that BBL.
Oh.
Is that a song?
I don't know, I made it up.
Good song.
BBL Drizzy.
Right.
BBL Chloe. So I think that it's also interesting that I find that sometimes when people take control of their own narrative without having to wait for an interview to, interviewer to ask or fans to come for you and say, tell us what you got done. You look different. When you kind of own it and say in a clever way, yes, I got this done, but like I'm still sitting pretty or whatever. I think there's like a level of respect too.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know, because then there's Brooke being dragged and nobody asked her anything.
Yeah, maybe because she just didn't reveal it creatively.
Like,
but like when you do it in a song, people are like,
Yeah.
okay, because I don't know, I don't see that many people talking about SZA, Doja Cat, and Doechii in the same way
Cardi
that they do
B.
with influencers, and maybe that's just because like an artist and an influencer are two different things.
Maybe it's because you have to be a fan of the person in order to listen to their music. Like, if you're
True.
going and
Yeah.
finding a Doechii song, you probably like Doechii.
True.
And so you're probably not going to try to drag her on the internet for having a BBL. But Brooke Schofield comes up on my timeline, on my For You page. And I don't follow Brooke.
Same.
And I don't specifically dislike her, but I don't, necessarily
For
love the girl
sure.
either. So it's like,
That's a
now I
great
just have
point.
access to this person who I, might have weird feelings about. And you're telling me something that I could drag you for.
Such
so now
a
it's
great
like,
point.
why not? Versus if you're listening to somebody, you probably
Yeah.
like them.
That's such a great point.
Yeah.
Like they're revealing that to their fans because it's people who are kind of like me who are combing through
That
their
follow
lyrics
them.
or like Sequoia.
Yeah.
Versus going on TikTok, you're reaching people who might not even know who you are.
Right.
And are going to be commenting on your viral video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like maybe the way that you approach the conversation,
Yeah.
it's received differently.
Right.
I think there's also, because I'm from that like influency world, I've been offered so many different kinds of plastic surgeries.
Okay.
I've been offered liposuction, ab structures, cutting, upper eyelid whatever removal, and BBLs and boob jobs and nose jobs for free.
Wow.
And I haven't taken any of them because I'm like, whoa, I can see how easy it is to get lost in this industry because doctors are chucking themselves at you. Promote my doctor's surgery. As long as you tag me in a TikTok, it's free. So
That seems so crazy to
So
be like, I will give
so-
you a free surgery for
If
a
you post
TikTok post.
That's
Yeah.
also giving me a complex. Like, if
But
you hit
this
me
is-
up, like, do you want an upper blef? I'm like, oh, you think I need one?
oh yeah, let
You
me just get it
know?
done.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, sure, because I didn't know I needed it, but you think so.
Yeah.
I also like getting a surgery for a TikTok post, like going under the knife for a TikTok post. I just want it to feel a little more like medical than
I agree.
that.
It
You know
does
what I
feel-
mean?
it's
Like
too
I don't want it
flippant.
to feel like a collab.
It's-
I want it to feel like my mom's coming to take care of me because
Yeah.
it's like I'm getting like this is like a important serious surgery.
But it's like, sure, babe, I'll cut you open.
Like I don't want my doctor being like, "Yo, can you use this like this
have, like,
sound under
have
the
the
video?"
NDAs.
I'm like, "Wait, can
So
you
I can
focus, clean the scalpel, bro?"
Right. She's like, no, I want to cut open a bunch of bitches that look just like you. So can you post that I cut you open so that a bunch of views will come? No.
I swear, these LA doctors are like influencers, like in their own
They
right.
are.
You
Dr.
show up-
Miami.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God.
I mean, his content is awesome.
Oh,
He's
it's
funny.
incredible.
He's funny.
His
He's
social
more relevant
media
than
team-
us and Lil Nas.
Easily.
His social media team is on it.
100%.
Like so good. They don't miss.
I'm a fan. Okay, we got to move on to our last story. From Rent the Runway to Newly, new ways to consume fashion are constantly evolving. Now there's a new app that's like Airbnb for your clothes.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of Pickle?
I have not.
You haven't?
No.
Okay, and I only know, I'm from the East Coast and used to live in New York City. I have a bunch of friends who still live there. I know of Pickle from my New York girls.
Okay.
It hasn't really become that popular in LA yet. The Cut just published an article titled, "Would You Let Strangers Borrow Your Clothes?" by writer Brooke Lamantia. And Pickle, basically, you go on and girls are listing pieces from their closet. A lot of times it's nice dresses for weddings, it's bags, it's designer items, and you can go and rent it from them for $200, for $300. You go and pick up the item. Me as the renter, I'm in charge of washing the item, dry cleaning it, whatever needs to be done, and then returning it whenever it's due, however long I'm renting it for, right? And so this is especially popular in New York. I imagine they launched the app there first. And there are some people who use it in Los Angeles. I downloaded the app. I was going to a wedding and kind of wanted to see. My friend said, check this app out. And while there weren't that many options in LA, it still was like, there were enough. If you were in a pinch and needed like a beautiful dress for a wedding, you could go on that day and find one.
Oh,
You were
wow.
in a pickle.
if you were in a pickle. There it is. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but 1 in 4 women in Manhattan use it, according to this article, which is kind of crazy. That's a lot.
It also doesn't sound that cheap. Did you say $200 to $300 to rent one article of clothing?
It depends on how expensive the item is.
Is it like 20%, 10%?
I think that the lister decides.
Yeah.
Because I think you're playing into, yes, okay, let's say this is a Reformation dress or whatever. You got it for a couple $100s. But you're also weighing in, like, how valuable is this item to you? Sure. I think it's based on the original price, but also it's up to the owner's discretion a little bit.
Oh, you could be making money.
You definitely could be making big money. I guess I don't understand how something like this survives in the world of Nuuly and Rent the Runway, where it's, $100 a month for 8 pieces that could be designer as well sometimes, or even like a switched for designer bags, and those bags are upwards of $1,000 dollars, and it costs a lot less than that.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that the app started to take off when the founders of Pickle got influencers and micro influencers to join.
Of course.
So I think there's something about obviously them promoting the app, like, gives it a lot more visibility, but also probably access to these trendy clothes, or being able to rent from your favorite influencer or micro influencer is probably attractive to girls too.
But then here's what I think. Like, say if you had your favorite influencer and you know that they had money and you could sell it on eBay for thousands of dollars. Like, what's stopping them from just renting the clothes, keeping them at home, and not giving it back?
That's a really good point, especially that part about your favorite influencer having the clothes and you
sell
it
on eBay for thousands.
It's like, oh, this is Brooke Schofield's top.
And then Pickle comes for you. If you're not returning the clothes, the app somehow.
But I already got my money and I can pay off, whatever little issue's going to come with Pickle, whatever little fee Pickle's going to charge me.
What hoops and jumps do you have to go through for Pickle to actually come for you? Is it a legal thing? Would it be criminal? Would it be civil?
It probably depends on how much you're stealing. If you're stealing thousands of dollars of clothes, you're going to get fucked, because that's right? That's like, when I got robbed in New York, my bag got stolen from yoga. Actually, this is a good story that I'll tell at some point at a later date, the full story. And it was because of how much was in my bag, what it was worth when you counted everything up, and it's more than a couple $1,000s. They were like, if we catch the guy who did this, like, he's screwed.
Going to jail.
Yeah, he's going to jail because it's thousands of dollars. So I'm sure it depends on how much you're stealing.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I think
these
plus
influencers
side
would get a lawyer on your ass if you're stealing these clothes.
Of course.
So, but I'm sure people are willing to do that. Like, especially now when people are desperate, they're like, I need money. Like, maybe I'll not return this item and deactivate my Pickle account and hope for the best.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm sure some people do maybe get away with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the plus side to these types of things, Pickle, Rent the Runway, etc., is just that it cuts down on like the fast fashion of it all, and you get to recycle clothing.
Yeah.
And that's probably a good thing. I mean, that is a good thing.
Yeah, it's sustainable.
Yeah.
More
sustainable
in a time,
than some other stuff.
Right. In a time where there are a lot of non-sustainable options that are easier.
I think I would just much prefer to go to a what do you guys call it? A charity shop?
A thrift shop?
store?
A thrift store.
Vintage
store?
store?
Vintage store.
Uh-huh. And like grab a dress for like a wedding
grab some
or something.
Denim, grab a dress, but then obviously the options are just very limited.
The options
we were
are a
speaking
little
about
bit,
that earlier, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more limited.
Do you guys share clothes with your friends?
Not anymore, really.
No.
Just because of really bad experiences.
Really?
Like I'm very much like, I'll buy something that's not as expensive and I'll just dress it up with like a nice handbag.
Nice.
Or some nice trainers or shoes. And I think my friends, if they're like the same size as me and they borrow some of my outfits, even my mum, I'm like the woman I trust the most on this earth, steals everything from me. I'm like, I'm not allowing you to borrow any more White Fox, missus. Every time I pick her up from the airport at LAX, she's wearing another White Fox tracksuit of mine.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so it's an issue of friends not giving it back.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about you, Sequoia?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
I share a lot of clothes with my friends. I borrow from them. They borrow from me.
But do they give it back?
They do. And you got to keep track.
Yeah.
Right? Like, And it's an unspoken thing between friends. If you develop a good relationship with a friend, you're the same size, have similar style, they lend you stuff, you lend them stuff, then you kind of like, you know, communicate that way. I'm giving your stuff back right after I wear it. She returns it to me. But also, it's a little bit, if I lend a friend something, I think that it is almost a little bit on me. While, yes, they're the one borrowing it.
You're the one
if
that has
I
to
want
pursue
it back, I have to keep track of my stuff.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
I do not feel that way.
No.
That's just
Granted,
anxiety.
I don't like share clothes with my friends, but if you borrow it from me, I better not have to ask you for it back. Like, you better get that. We're gonna determine when you're gonna give it back, and this, I think this more so about money. If you borrow money from me, we're gonna talk about when you're gonna give it back to me. If it gets to that date and I don't have it back, that's a problem.
So you will lend your friends money?
Yes, definitely. I mean, I'll lend them clothes too. Just nobody asked for my clothes. But
okay, so you will lend money.
Yeah,
though.
no, I'll lend clothes. I'll lend money, but you just have to keep your word.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna chase you for my thing. If I have to chase you for my thing, it's a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that. So I would be I'm surprised that y'all were kind of the opposite.
Because I think that sometimes friends, like, if it's not malicious, because a lot of my friends, like, you know, they're my friends. That's why I'm giving them my clothes. You know what I mean? Like, these are people I trust. If they're not giving me something back, maybe they've forgotten.
Or they're busy. They're on a flight.
And it's like,
you know, going to Coachella, like me. Like,
yeah.
I'm the worst at organising, giving my friends their clothes back.
I do like when my friends give me my clothes back without me asking, and most of the time they do, especially at this age in my 20s. But I also keep a mental list or on my phone of like, this person has this dress. I need this back by this time. You know what I mean? Just so that months don't go by and then I'm pissed.
Right. Because if I have to look for my item, if I forget that you have my item and I go to wear it to an event and you've had it for 2 months because I forgot that I lent it to you, I'm actually pissed off.
Then I'm pissed.
So to prevent that issue, just give me my shit back. Like, always just give me my money back. Give me whatever back. Just give it back. So
you
would
hate me, Sequoia. You would hate me.
You know what? My therapist told me that I'm type A, and I had never heard that before in my life.
You must
so
be type A.
Perhaps, I don't know. I thought I was type B, but maybe.
No, I'm very much type B. I will forget and accidentally wear your clothes for the next 6 months without realizing.
So funny.
See, I got a lot of type B girls in my life, so I gotta keep track of my shit.
That's super fair.
But now I know with you, Sequoia, you'll be bringing it next day.
Give back my thing, right? I'm like, here, take your thing back. We're gonna take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Soapbox.
It's time for a segment we call Soapbox, where we stand on a metaphorical soapbox. That word came right out of the back of my mind.
We stand on a soapbox. Yeah.
Metaphorical soapbox, and talk about something we feel passionately about right now. Okay, a prevailing thought. Chloe, I know that you have one fresh on the mind.
So excited.
I'm so frustrated.
Tell us.
Like fuming. Absolutely livid.
Okay.
What was the word you used? Not gagged. No, it was gutted.
Gutted.
I'm gutted.
I'm absolutely gutted from the core. Do you know what? I've just been to Coachella with all my friends, right?
Yes.
And I also went on this brand trip. There was loads of other women that I didn't know.
Okay.
All American. And because I'm British, everyone's like, oh, being British is so cool. Like, it's so edgy, your accent. And they copy my accent and I love it, right? Makes me feel a part of. And then it comes down to like the culture issues, the language barriers, the communication and the humor issues. I'm trying to be funny and I'll, like, back in the UK, I'll land a joke and I'm like, that was so funny. You know, when you say something, you're like, okay, this is great. Like, I'm actually a comedian at this point. It just wouldn't land with the girls.
Do you have any examples?
So an example would be, I'll be flirting with a guy at the festival and he'll be giving me a piggyback. And then I'll get off his back and I'll go, oh, well, you aren't completely useless.
Cute.
Which is flirting.
I like it. Yeah. I like it.
But they get offended. I'm like, because the ego and the pride.
These are Andrew Tate's sons.
And they're literally used to girls being like, oh, please, no. And I'm like, oh, I mean, you aren't completely useless.
Ugh.
Because I'm British, it sounds more aggressive.
Interesting, because you have the accent, because you're I don't know, just saying it like more dry.
Yeah.
Is it the dry, like, is dry humor more well received? It lands better?
Yeah, I think so.
You
Like,
know
there
what,
was-
Chloe? I don't want you to think LA culture is the entire United States. I think you would fare better in New York City.
Okay.
Because they are a little bit rougher in that way. And I feel like it would be well received by the men there. A little bit better than the men here.
I mean, I called someone a cheeky cow and it didn't land well.
No.
I would think you were calling me fat.
Oh no!
That would be my read.
This is the communication barrier that I'm talking about. Okay, this is the soapbox I'm standing on. Okay, guys, if a British person is coming up to you and they're saying, "Oh, stop being a cheeky little cow," they're not calling you fat. It's like just a really cute way of saying, like, "Oh, you're being so cheeky."
Yeah.
Don't ask me why we say cow.
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right, that's okay.
But it's just a thing.
Stop being a cheeky little cow.
Yeah, stop being a cheeky little cow. Oh, you cheeky little cow.
Oh, you cheeky little cow. All right, I'm bringing that to Coachella weekend
like
too.
it.
We'll see if I can land the plane.
Stop mooing at people. No, don't do that.
Worse.
So you think that like, yeah, your humor, which is more, I don't know, playful and your delivery, people just aren't picking up that you're kidding.
Yeah.
People aren't picking up that you're being funny. So you don't get any laughs and you're like, what the fuck? This isn't fun.
Quite literally, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What can we as Americans do better?
Just grow a thicker skin.
Okay.
Okay.
Towards Brits.
Okay.
That's fair. I think I think I'm good, but I don't think that I'm
I think you are.
representative of.
Yeah.
I think Fiona's good too. I think Fiona can take a joke. I could take a joke. Like that would make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like so you're not completely useless to a man would make me laugh. Not
Yeah.
to me, but to a man would make me laugh.
Was there anything specific with the ladies that you were around that like you tried to make a joke and you could tell they didn't think it was funny?
Do you know what? I think there was a couple women that looked beautiful.
Okay.
And I would go up to them and be like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. Look at your outfit. It's gorgeous."
Yeah.
Or I would just say, "Oh, I'm so jealous of your outfit." Mm-hmm. And they would be like, "Oh, no. Don't be jealous."
That's weird.
And I'm like, "What?"
That response is weird.
No, I don't mean like I'm actually jealous of your
Like-
outfit, babe. I know I look hot.
You
I'm just
know.
saying like it's a
I'm
compliment.
gassing you up.
I'm gassing you up.
Okay, this does feel like maybe not so much of like, I don't know, not an LA thing, but maybe the crowd.
Common
Yeah,
sense.
it feels like the
You
crowd.
were more of a
maybe just
common sense thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. It's reading between the, like picking up on someone's energy and then responding. I don't like when people just across the board, it feels like they're misunderstanding what I mean.
Every second.
Wow.
Yeah, so that would be
Every
hard.
Yeah.
And that's how
that's
you
not
feel
fun.
sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Well, Sequoia and
What about
I,
you girls?
we got thick skin, so we
Yeah.
understand.
We're
you.
good. Yeah.
My soapbox for today is actually kind of similar to your just kind of like analysis of the Coachella experience, which is, you know, Sequoia and I are going to weekend too. So it's not like I'm not going to Coachella, but it is such a moment online, especially living in LA, being in entertainment in the world that we're in, where I found myself, you know, putting a lot of pressure on myself for not being there weekend one and not with a brand and not in all the pictures and with the trendy people and whatever. And I just, you know, feel really passionately about the idea that we as young people and anyone who uses the social media needs to remember that you can't care about or consume other people's lives to the point where it starts to affect how much you're enjoying yours.
Preach.
If it puts you in a bad mood, even, right? Sometimes I have to really clock, like, why am I in a bad mood right now? And I think back, I trace it back, and I'm like, oh, it was because I was scrolling on Instagram and saw this girl and compared myself to her. And now I've been in a bad mood the past couple of minutes or feeling anxious, right? So it's just something that I think needs to be talked about more. And I know that we do and we're aware of this, but like, you can never really remind yourself enough that you need to separate online world, the digital world, from your own life.
It's smoke and mirrors, baby.
Yes.
Smoke and mirrors.
It really is.
Big time.
And it's all about the optics. And when you start getting lost in that, especially on other people's optics, not even your own branding or your own content, which could potentially make you money or build a business, it's like, wow, we need to come back to you making your meals, working out, making art, doing your job, meeting new people, your relationships. Like that is what's real.
Yeah. That's real.
And that's my soapbox.
I think that's completely valid though.
Same.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's been through a moment in like that in life.
Yeah,
definitely.
And so I worked through that, and then I was like, wait, I'm going to San Diego with all my friends. My mom's here. I'm going to Coachella weekend too. What are we talking about?
Like, living the dream.
I'm so grateful. Like, what are we even doing here? Like,
Yep.
come back to the point.
Yeah.
What about you, Sequoia? What's your prevailing thought right now?
Mine is, if you did not have anything to say about a person when the dominant narrative about that person was positive, then do not come in talking about, I've never liked them, they always gave me weird vibes, when the public perception about them turns. It's pussy. I don't know a different way to say it. It's so I very much dislike that. I would very much rather you say, when everybody likes a person, don't like that person.
Yeah.
And then you can double down. You can say, I told you bitches so. When the perception turns. But people want to do this gotcha, I told you so-esque thing without ever having the balls to have said the thing in the first place. In which case, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care what you think. Actually, it's giving opportunist. It's giving nobody likes them, and therefore I'm going to try to make content about not liking them so that I can come up off their demise. Loser behavior.
Mine was like the opposite with Lady Gaga at Coachella. Like,
Yes.
I've never liked Lady Gaga. Never. And I knew you would have that reaction. But I'm doubling down on it.
No, period. I like it.
I've flipped the switch because I see her at Coachella and I cried 3 times.
Period. She'll do that to you.
She is a boss woman.
She will do that.
Like, I've never seen her live. When I got there, all my friends were like, we're going to go watch Lady Gaga. And I'm like, oh, do you know what? I don't know if I want to watch her. And I did, and I cried and I loved her.
I'm so glad that you loved her. And I also am happy that you said that you didn't like her in the first place.
Yeah.
So you're a cheeky little monster.
I'm a cheeky little monster.
Little monster.
Okay, well, we have more tomorrow. Chloe's coming back tomorrow, I believe, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
That is it for today's episode. We love that you've been taking Hannah's place, Chloe, and follow us at The Daily Dirty. Tune in tomorrow as we get down and dirty in the weeds of the biggest stories in pop culture. Bye, everyone.
Bye.